Big news here. Norway, Ireland, and Spain say they are recognizing a Palestinian state in a historic move. Norway, Ireland, and Spain said Wednesday they are recognizing a Palestinian state in a historic move that drew condemnation from Israel and jubilation from the Palestinians. Israel immediately ordered back its ambassadors from Norway and Ireland. The formal recognition will be made on May 28th. The development is a step toward a long-held Palestinian aspiration that came against the backdrop of international outrage over the civilian death toll and humanitarian crisis in the Gaza Strip following Israel's offensive there. In Jerusalem, meanwhile, a far-right government minister paid a provocative visit to a flashpoint holy site sacred to Jews and Muslims. National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir visit to the Al-Aqsa Mosque compound, which Jews refer to as the Temple Mount, was likely to escalate tensions across the region. Norway was the first to announce its decision to recognize a Palestinian state, with Prime Minister Jonas Gahr Støre. Don't know if I pronounced that right. How do you say the O with the line through it? I don't know that one. Støre. Yes. Says there cannot be peace in the Middle East if there is no recognition. By recognizing a Palestinian state, Norway supports the Arab peace plan, he said, and added that the Scandinavian country will regard Palestine as an independent state with all the rights and obligations that entails. Several EU countries have in the past weeks indicated that they plan to make the recognition, arguing a two-state solution is essential for lasting peace in the region. The decision may generate momentum for the recognition of a Palestinian state by other EU countries and could spur further steps at the United Nations, deepening Israel's isolation. Norway, which is not a member of the EU but mirror its moves, has been an ardent supporter of a two-state solution between Israel and the Palestinians. In making his announcement, Irish Prime Minister Simon Harris said the move was coordinated with Spain and Norway, and that it was a historic and important day for Ireland and for Palestine. He said it was intended to help move the Israeli-Palestinian conflict to resolution through a two-state solution. Harris said he thinks other countries will join Norway, Spain, and Ireland in recognizing a Palestinian state in the weeks ahead. Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez, Spain's socialist leader since 2018, made the expected announcement to the nation's parliament on Wednesday. He had spent months touring European and Middle Eastern countries to garner support for the recognition, as well as for a possible ceasefire in Gaza. He has said several times that he was committed to the move. We know that this initiative won't bring back the past and the lives lost in Palestine, but we believe that it will give the Palestinians two things that are very important for their present and their future: dignity and hope, Sanchez said. This recognition is not against anyone. It is not against the Israeli people, Sanchez added, while acknowledging that it will most likely cause diplomatic tensions with Israel. It is an act in favor of peace, justice, and moral consistency. So I just want to take a short pause right there. So the most significant part of this so far, I believe it is here on slide 2 or 3, the fact that Israel has withdrawn its ambassadors from Ireland and Norway. So, there are people who are not for a two-state solution. I'm not for that. I'm for one state with equal rights for everybody. And so in that sense, you can argue against this, that this is milquetoast. The key here is that it's forcing Israel to isolate itself.
Yes.
The more Israel isolates itself, the better. The long-term goal of a two-state solution versus a one-state, I know this sounds very strange to say, that's almost neither here nor there at this point, because Israel's not going to agree to anything until they are forced to agree to something.
Exactly.
And the way they're going to be forced to agree is by them further isolating themselves. So right now, for the time being, any move that forces them to ostracize themselves is a good move.
Yep. They are used to being able to get in a snit and have people say, "Oh, sorry, Holocaust, you're right. You're right, sorry. We didn't mean to in some way signal anti-Semitism." That shit ain't working no more. When you game this out, because also in this article they say they expect other EU countries to join them soon.
Right.
So what does that do? The more of these EU countries, and certainly I would imagine you're going to get a wave of Latin American countries that are going to recognize a Palestinian state. China, I'm surprised they haven't done it already. At that point, U.S. policy is going to be the oddball policy. And Israel is going, because what's naturally going to follow from that are economic sanctions, just a de facto refusal to do business with Israel. That, on top of consumer boycotts, that country is going to be destroyed at the same exact time that you start to have an empowered and recognized Palestinian entity.
Right.
What this entire thing is we're starting to see the shape of how this is going to backfire on Israel and how it is backfiring on Israel. And if you game it out far enough, what they fear, they're absolutely right. Once you have a supported and economically and politically stable Palestinian entity there, recognized by the world, their days are numbered. Their days are numbered. It's just like South Africa, man. The more conscious and aware people become of what the situation is in Israel, you just cannot run a racist apartheid state in broad daylight like this anymore.
Exactly.
And it's going to lead to their dissolution.
So the article continues. Israel's foreign minister, Israel Katz, ordered Israel's ambassadors from Ireland and Norway to immediately return to Israel. He spoke before Spain's announcement. Ireland and Norway intend to send a message today to the Palestinians and the whole world. Terrorism pays. That's his statement. He said that the recognition could impede efforts to return Israel's hostages being held in Gaza and makes a ceasefire less likely by rewarding the jihadists of Hamas and Iran. He also threatened to recall Israel's ambassador to Spain if the country takes a similar position. Go ahead. Do it. Do it. Take your ambassadors out of everywhere. That's what this is about, right? One by one by one. Regarding the Israeli decision to recall its ambassador in Oslo, Gar Stor, as Russell says, I think that's a safe bet, said, "We will take note of that. This is a government with which we have many disagreements. What we agree on is to condemn Hamas's cruel attack on October 7th. Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas, speaking after Norway's announcement, welcomed the move and called on other countries to follow. In a statement carried by the official Wafa news agency, Abbas said Norway's decision will enshrine the Palestinian people's right to self-determination and support efforts to bring about a two-state solution with Israel. The head of the Arab League called the step taken by the three European nations a courageous step. I salute and thank the three countries for this step that puts them on the right side of history in this conflict," Arab League Secretary General Ahmed Abu Ghait wrote on the social media platform X. Turkey also applauded the decision, calling it an important step toward the restoration of the usurped rights of the Palestinians. The Turkish Foreign Ministry also said the move would help Palestine gain the status it deserves in the international community. So the more Israel
does
feels,
Turkey recognize the Palestinians as a state?
I'm not sure. You're talking about at the UN?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, have they already taken the step that Ireland and Spain and Norway are taking? Has Turkey already recognized the
that I'm
Palestinian
not sure
government?
I'm not sure of. I would assume, based on that statement, that they probably have, but I don't know that for a fact. I don't know if anybody in the chat knows that.
Who has recognized?
Quite a few
Palestine
countries
as a
already
state.
have. Quite a few countries. The list of countries that have already recognized them as a state is quite long. So my guess is that Turkey would be on that list. I would certainly bet on that.
Yeah, I don't see how they could praise them for doing it if they haven't done it.
Yeah, exactly. But the response when Israel says how angry they are and how they're going to withdraw ambassadors from Spain next, if Spain does it, well, go ahead. Do it. That has to be the answer. And that's why this is significant. Yeah, everybody in the chat's saying yes. So, yeah, we'll go with that.
We have the best people.
We have the best people. But yeah, I mean, that's a big move for that reason. The more Israel feels a need to withdraw from the international community, the better the short-term outcome in the sense that they will be isolated and weakened. And long-term, obviously, that gives a sovereign and recognized Palestinian state more leverage in any final negotiated settlement, which is our line. Well, yeah, Palestinian freedom, sure, that has to be negotiated, though. Okay, well, if we're going to do this that way, then you have to do everything you can to increase the negotiating power of the Palestinian entity. So if that is recognized as a state, that gives them more power going into whatever that negotiation will be. And the more Israel isolates itself diplomatically and economically, the less bargaining power they'll have.
Right. Exactly. So, hey, this is kind of a good news day as news days in the middle of a genocide go.
Please clap.